Social Security is making big changes to how it handles disability payments and customer service, and one major change is happening this weekend. There is both good news and bad news for benefits recipients, and if you or someone you love relies on Social Security disability benefits, you need to understand exactly what is happening right now. Before I break all of this down for you, if you are not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. We cover Social Security news and updates every single week, and you do not want to miss critical information like this that could directly affect your benefits. Now let me explain what is changing and what it means for you. The Social Security Administration is rolling out significant changes to how it handles disability payments while also completely overhauling its customer service operations. These changes come in the aftermath of a major restructuring by DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which resulted in the layoffs of more than 7,000 Social Security workers in 2025. That massive reduction in workforce has had ripple effects throughout the entire agency, and the changes we are seeing now are directly connected to the agency trying to do more with far fewer people. Let me start with the disability payment changes because this affects millions of Americans who are either currently receiving benefits or waiting to find out if they qualify. The new process is designed to accomplish three main goals. First, it aims to cut the time it takes to determine eligibility for Social Security disability benefits. Second, it is supposed to speed up the time it takes beneficiaries to actually receive their checks once they are approved. Third, it is intended to reduce the agency's massive backlog of pending claims. To understand why these changes matter, you need to understand just how bad the backlog situation has become. According to the Urban Institute, a Washington, D.C. think tank, the Social Security Administration had a backlog of disability claims that was on track to exceed 2 million beneficiaries as of about a year ago. 2 million people waiting to find out if they qualify for benefits they desperately need. That is an absolutely staggering number of Americans in limbo, many of them dealing with serious medical conditions that prevent them from working. As of February 2025, applicants for SSDI, which is Social Security Disability Insurance, and SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, were waiting on average 7 months just for an initial eligibility determination. That is 7 months of uncertainty, 7 months of not knowing if you will have income to pay your bills, 7 months of stress and anxiety on top of whatever medical condition is already making your life difficult. And that 7 months is just for the initial determination. If you are denied and need to appeal, which happens to the majority of initial applicants, you could be looking at years before your case is finally resolved. The Urban Institute also warned that the Trump administration's downsizing of the federal workforce would, in their words, assuredly make it harder to receive approval, meaning even longer wait times to receive benefits. When you cut more than 7,000 workers from an agency that was already struggling to keep up with demand, the math simply does not work in favor of applicants. Now, here is where we get to some potentially good news. According to the Social Security Administration itself, its early implementation of the new upgrades has already reduced the backlog by roughly 30% since June 2024. A 30% reduction in the backlog is significant. If those numbers are accurate, it means the agency is making real progress on one of its most persistent and damaging problems. People who have been waiting months or even years for a decision on their disability claim might finally be getting some movement on their cases. However, I want to be careful here because we have seen promises from the Social Security Administration before that did not pan out as expected. The agency has historically struggled with modernization efforts, and the proof will be in whether applicants actually see faster processing times in the real world. The 30% reduction sounds impressive, but we need to see sustained improvement over time, not just a temporary dip in the numbers. Now let me talk about the customer service changes because this is where things get more complicated and where you need to understand both the potential benefits and the very real risks. The Social Security Administration is fundamentally changing how it handles customer service by centralizing its operations. Until now, the agency operated its 1,250 field offices independently. Each office had staff who understood the specific rules, regulations, and quirks of their particular state and local area. When you walked into your local Social Security office or called with a question, you were dealing with people who knew your state system inside and out. That is changing. The new approach is more nationalized and tech-driven. What does that mean in practical terms? According to finance expert Michael Ryan, recipients should expect faster phone pickup times and online scheduling options. Those are legitimate improvements. Anyone who has ever tried to call Social Security and been stuck on hold for hours or been unable to get an appointment at their local office will appreciate those changes. But here is the bad news, and this is important. Along with those improvements comes, in Ryan's words, a real risk of slower, more confusing resolution for complicated cases that used to be handled by people who knew their state system cold. This is the trade-off that many people do not fully understand. When you centralize operations and rely more heavily on technology, you can handle simple questions more efficiently. But when someone has a complicated situation, when there are unusual circumstances, when state-specific rules come into play, that is when the new system might actually make things worse. Think about it this way. If you have a straightforward question like when will my check arrive or what is my current benefit amount, the new centralized system with faster phone pickup might serve you better. But if you have a complicated case involving multiple types of benefits, or if you are dealing with an overpayment dispute, or if there are state-specific Medicaid coordination issues, you might find yourself talking to someone in a call center who has no idea about the specific rules in your state and no relationship with the local offices that used to handle these issues. This is what experts mean when they warn about a bumpy transition. The Social Security Administration is essentially rebuilding how it does business while simultaneously trying to serve millions of Americans who depend on it for their survival. That is an incredibly difficult thing to do well, and there will inevitably be people who fall through the cracks during this transition period. So, what should you do with this information? First, if you are waiting on a disability determination, there is reason for cautious optimism. The 30% backlog reduction suggests that cases are moving faster than they were. Stay on top of your case, check your status regularly through your My Social Security account online, and make sure the agency has all the documentation it needs. Do not assume that no news is good news. Be proactive about following up. Second, if you have a complicated benefits situation, now is the time to make sure you have everything documented and organized. As the agency transitions to a more centralized model, you may find that you need to explain your situation multiple times to different people who are not familiar with your case history. Having clear records of previous communications, decisions, and any state-specific issues will help you navigate the new system. Third, be patient but persistent. The agency is going through major changes and there will be growing pains. If you encounter problems or delays, do not give up. Appeal denials. Ask to speak to supervisors. Document everything. The squeaky wheel often gets the grease, and that is especially true when dealing with a bureaucracy in transition. Fourth, consider whether you need professional help. For complicated disability cases, having a representative or attorney who specializes in Social Security can make a significant difference. These professionals understand the system, know how to navigate the bureaucracy, and can advocate on your behalf when things get stuck. The bottom line is that we are in a period of significant change at the Social Security Administration. Some of those changes may genuinely improve service for millions of Americans. Faster processing times, reduced backlogs, better phone access, and online scheduling are all positive developments if they actually materialize as promised. But the loss of local expertise and the risks associated with such a major transition are real concerns that should not be dismissed. I will continue to monitor these changes and keep you updated on how they are actually playing out for real people. The promises from the agency are one thing, but the experience of beneficiaries on the ground is what really matters. If you are seeing improvements or if you are running into new problems, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and share your experience because your feedback helps everyone in this community understand what is really happening. If this information was valuable to you, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you never miss important Social Security updates. Share this video with friends and family who rely on Social Security benefits or who are waiting on disability determinations. They need to know what is coming. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next update.